Hello friends and everyone, you're welcome back to Netcode-Hub channel. I am Frederick, as you know already, and I'm happy to have you here today. In this video, we are going to look at how to integrate credit card or MasterCard payment system into an e-commerce app. I've made a video on how to create this e-commerce app that you see on the screen, and I have this video in there, so I'll put the video link in this video description. If you haven't watched any of the videos, you can do that. And if you want to learn how to create this e-commerce app, then you can just click on that link to watch this video. But in this video, we're going to talk about how to just integrate the payment system into an e-commerce app. In that e-commerce app, we have all our features created. Now, what we're going to have here is we have our products created where a user can go in there and now add product to cart. Now, from the cart system, the user can now manage the cart and do a whole lot of stuff in it. Can update the cart or delete or remove an item from it. We're not going to talk about that because I have a video done on this. So what we're going to do here is we're going to just handle the payment system. Before we jump right into this, you can do any of the following to support this channel. You can just subscribe to this channel if you haven't done that, and also hit on the notification bell so you never miss out any of our upcoming content. Also, you can like this video by clicking on the thumbs up icon. When you do that, it actually helps this channel grow. You can also buy me coffee to support this channel as well. And if you want to do that, check the video description. The link is over there. You know, I do offer training sessions for people who are interested in .NET technologies, talking about Blazor, Blazor Server and WebAssembly, .NET MAUI and my Blazor Hybrid, and also web service, which is the web API. If you're interested, I have an email in the video description. You can also link me up over there. Now, when I'm done with this, I'm going to put the source code there. So if you want to grab the complete project and now the card payment system, you can just get it. So check the video description and you're going to also have a link and you can go in there and I'll grab the source code. All right, so now let's get to what we want to do today. So you can see these are the categories. If I click on any of the categories, I have the related product. So that's for Samsung phones. I have only 2 categories now, and that is what I have. Now with this, if I can click on this to add this item to the cart, you can see currently we have the cart here as 0 for the count, and I can now add it. So add it to cart. You can see this has updated to 1. I can also add 1 more, and I have 2. Defaultly, if I add an item to cart, it is only 1. So I can just go in there, click on the cart, and now there's a card that I have. Now you can see there's the total amount that I have to pay for the individual items price. So I have 3 items in here, and now there's the price that I need to pay. Aside from that, I can also increase or update the quantity. So I can just do that. As soon as I click on it, it gets updated automatically, and now I have this cart summary to automatically updated. Okay, so maybe I can just have this to 2 and now that. But as soon as I click on proceed to checkout, nothing happens. So that is what you're going to have a look today. So the hosting model that we are using here, it is a Blazor core hosted project. Now this core hosted project comprises of the Blazor WebAssembly. We have the API as well. So when handling payment system, it has to be handled on the server, and now it gets interacted with the client to have access to all the services that are going to create. So we're going to create an interface implementation for the payment system in the server section. After that, then we're going to consume the service in the client. That's the WebAssembly app. Then the client can now click on it to make payment with it. So now let's go to the source code. I'm going to close this app. Now when you go to solution, so maybe if you have any project that you want to integrate this payment system, definitely if it is a WebAssembly, then you can also follow the same step in here. First of all, you're going to download this trial package because that is what we want to integrate in our project. So we close the client, open the server, and right click on the dependencies, and let's go in there and now add a NuGet package. So we need to add a package name as stripe.net. So this is a package that we need to install. So search for this and now get it installed. So that is the package. So let's install this by Stripe itself. Alright, so the package is now installed. So now let's close this and we go to our repository folder, and now in here we are going to create an interface. So new item, and now this is going to be an interface. And now with the name of the interface I'm going to give is iPayment. So let's wait for this get loaded. I'm going to choose an interface, and that's going to be iPayment. So with the iPayment, I'm going to have this section, and this is going to be the method that we're going to have. So create checkout session, and now this session is coming from the package that we installed. So we're going to use this stripe.checkout. So this is a package name that we need to use. And now this and other. So this is going to be the model that we are going to be using in the application. So this is what we're going to gather the data so that the user tries to add item to the cart. Now if I go to the client section and let's see this model. So let me just right click on this and I peep this definition. You can see we have an order ID, name, price, quantity, image, and then the subtotal. Okay, so we have this. That's what we are using to gather or populate the cart items and our return. You know, there's a list of orders, so a list of products. Now, once you have this, we can just close this, and we need to create an implementation for this. So we go to the same repository, we right click on it, then we can now create a new class. The class is going to be payment repository, which is a class type, then which is going to inherit from this interface that we created as iPayment. So control period, we need to implement the interface in this. Maybe we can check first if the cart items is null, maybe you can just return. Okay, so if this, let's make it as cart orders. If this is null, then we can return a new session. But in case it is not, then this is what you want to do. You want to create a line, or that's a session line item option. And now with that session line item option, we can just start populating our cart items. So we have our line items in here. Then we can have this. So we're going to loop through these cart items. And now for when looping through these cart items, we are adding new session line item option, which has a price data in here and a quantity. So the price data, we're also going to specify these options in the price data. That is a unit amount in decimal. So that's the price of this item, the specific item in this CI, which is the item in this list. We multiply the price by 100. Then the currency here is a USD. That's the US dollars that you want to use. With the product data, we need to populate the product information. So we can add product data in here. We can also add, maybe you can add, let's say, metadata or image description. There's a description here. So in case maybe you have description, we can add it. But we did not include description in this. So we don't have a description here. So you can even add that. So for now, with a description, we can specify if you have the product ID. Do you have the ID here? We have for name, image, and price. So that's what we have an ID. So we can use the ID for the description. So we can use this. Now this, we have to convert to string because this is a string, and now this also is an integer type. Aside from that, we need to specify the quantity. So the number of quantity the user want to buy for that specific item, we need to specify it here. Okay, so we do that. Aside from creating this, we need to create an options of session create option. And now in that, we need to specify the line item that we have created. And also, when it makes access, what should happen, and in case it is not. So here, first of all, we specify the payment method. And on this payment method, we are using card. So here it means you want to accept only card. So maybe you can add a lot of payment system in here, but for now we want to maintain card. This card comprises of the debit card, credit card, MasterCard, and all kinds of card. Okay. Now you can see from here we have this line items, and that is what we need to populate. So you can see we have it set already here. So we specify it. The mode here, it is payment. Now when it makes success, we want to navigate to this, the localhost / other success. So there's going to be a component that you're going to create, and it's going to be the route. So in that, after the payment has made successful, we navigate to this page and you can display something like, thank you so much for buying items from us, or maybe an extra information that you want to give to the user. You can do that as well. Now, what if I want to cancel the checkout? I don't want to proceed anymore. Maybe I checked my accounts and maybe I changed my mind. I don't want to buy anymore. I click on cancel and it navigates to the page. So for now, you have to know the port of this app. So, when you go to the server and I go to properties, line settings, you're going to have the port in here. You can grab it from this HTTPS 7154. So that's what we need. You have to copy and paste it in here. Aside from that, what we're going to do here is we're going to create an instance of a session service, and we're going to create this service. So in order to do that, first we create a service in here. So service equal to new session service, then service.create, the option that we have specified in here. And I'm just going to, after that, we're going to return this session. Okay. So maybe here, this return a session in here. So after that, we have to return the session from this API. Okay. Now, aside from that, when you go to, we have to create our controller in here. Or maybe I think here we can make it a string. We want to return a string because it's going to return a response of this success and at the cancel. Okay. So you're going to have session dot, you're going to have URL. So you want to return this. Now this, let's see, it is returning the type of this is going to be a string. As you can see, it's a string. And so it means you have to make this a string, not session. So this must be a string. So return, let's return null here. Yes. So this is going to work fine. When you go to the payment instead of the session, make this a string. Let's save that. And what we're going to do next, we're going to create our controller to handle this. So in that, we go to the controller folder, we right click and now add a new controller. There's going to be an API, take notes, and there's going to be an empty one. The name here, I'm going to make it is payment. You can give a name of your choice. And now within that payment, you're going to have access to just a method, which is going to be a post checkout. Then we are setting the order as a payload. Aside from that, we call this payment service. In C# version 12, we have a new feature that is known as a primary constructor. So you're going to integrate that. So iPayments, and I'm going to say payment system. Did I say payment system or payment service? So payment service, and now in here, this is going to return a URL. So let's specify this URL here. And now what we're going to do here is we can just pass this return OK in here, and that is all. Okay, so we have our system working. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to integrate this into the our client service. But before we do that, when we check this iPayment service or the repository here, you need a key. Now, what are going to use this key for? Let's say if the client clicks on this and try to make payment, to which account is the client making payment to? That's the reason why we have to create an account inside the Stripe section, and you try to get a key. You pass in the key here so that as soon as it gets there, it knows the kind of key, the kind of account which the keys are suited to make the payment or accept the payment. So let's navigate to stripe.com and now try to create an account in there. You're going to have a key, public key or private key also. We're going to copy that secret key and I'll add it here, and we can say that we are done working on that. So this is where you need to go, stripe.com, go in there and then click on start now to create an account for yourself. Now when you are done, you try to log in, and now when you log in, this is what you have. You have a developer section that you can see it is in the test mode. You have to switch that to make sure it's switched. And aside from that, you come to the standard keys. Here we have a publishable key and we have a secret key. This is what we need to copy. Okay, So this the ID that identifies our application or our account with Stripe. So I'm going to copy this in here. So let's say I'm done copying this, so I have to just close it. Now I go to the app where we have this checkout section. This is just a repository that is coming here. So we're going to create an instance, a constructor here. So CTOR. And now in the constructor, we're going to specify the key in here. So as soon as this page gets called, or this class gets called, this is the first method which is going to be executed before the rest. So when you have the key, you have to type in Stripe dot, then you can have maybe Stripe configuration. Let's do it again. So Stripe configuration dot API key, then it's equal to, and you have to paste in the key here. After that, save this up, and now let's close this. So we are done here, and we are now consuming this, going to consume this inside our client section. So you can close this server and now open the client service or the client project. In the service folder, we want to create one, because we have a service in here known as the iCart. So with this cart, we want to add this one method in here, and this is going to be a string because you're going to return a string type. And we say checkout. The payload here is a cart item, which is a list of order. Now let's go to the client service is implementation. Let's save everything, and now in here we have to implement that interface. So let's implement it. When you go down here, you have the definition here. Cart service, and that is a cart service. So check out. And now in here, I want us to move this method from this section up to where we have the cart service. This is a cart service. So we can put it somewhere here, my orders. Then we have delete cart and get cart, and here let's paste in our cart service. Okay. Within the implementation for this method, we want to make a post to the API endpoint, and this must be an async, as you know, since it's a task. And you can see we have an HTTP client. It is posting to this route API / payment / checkout, because when you check the controller from the server, you can see this is a payment controller. We have an API, and the name of the controller, that is a payment. So API / payment. Now the name of the route is a checkout. So that's exactly what we are doing here, API payment / checkout. Then we are generating this string content and initializing the object of this list of items since we are posting to an API. After that, I'm going to read the response as a string since it's going to come in a string format. Then we want to return this URL. So this is going to be the URL. It's going to come from the API. So we want to return it in here. Okay. So now we have this service created. Let's consume that. And now when you go to the pages folder, you can see that you have my cart page in here. And now when you check this cart page, the first card is a container fluid. The first card, that is a column large 3, LG3. If you check this, we have 2 cards in here. That's the 2 sections. We have the first one, that is it talks about the summary, the cart summary. And now in there we have a method, that's a button known as checkout. So let's have an onClick event attached to this. So you say onClick, then you can have this checkout. So let's write definition for this method. We come down here. And now we can define the method definition. So it is going to be an async task. Then is a checkout. So in that, so in case the cart is null, so in case this is my cart order, and that is a list of order here, and that is a cart container. In case it is null, then I want to return this display response, whereby we're going to call the .NET 8 is it dialog element that have made a video on it, how to use that. We're going to call it display this to the user. But in case it is not null, we want to call this cart service, And now the response that is coming in, we want to navigate to that response, which is going to be the URL. And that's going to navigate us to the Stripe account where we can make payment to that. All right. So this is what we need to do. After that, you have to create one component. Remember that when we check the controller, you can see that it is returning two URLs. The first one here, when we check our repository instead, it is returning, the first one is returning if it makes access and in case it couldn't. In case it couldn't, it's navigating to the page, but in case it does, then you want to create and now navigate this, set this name as a route for that component. Okay, so this is what we can do. We can create a component and that component, going to name it as others assets. Maybe let's go to the same cart page, right click on this and add a new result component. Let's name it as others assets. And now we have to specify the route in here. So maybe then we can write something like, so this is going to be an H1. So we're going to say, thank you so much for doing business with us. Okay. So we love you so much. Okay. So we have this, which is going to be displayed as soon as the person finishes making payment. All right, so everything is working perfectly now. Let's run this application and see what you're going to have. All right, so the app is now ready, as you can see, and you can see we have 3 items in the cart. So let's click on the cart item. We want to have the list in here, and that is the amount that we need to pay. So let's see, 95519.50. Maybe we can reduce one. Now we have 76015. Okay, fine. So this, okay. This is what you want to pay. Now let's click on this checkout and now let's see what's going to happen. So it's going to navigate us to the Stripe account we're going to have access to. But I think there's an issue here because we did not create dependency injection between the service and also the repository. So quickly let's go in there and now do that first. We go to the server. So let's minimize this. We go to the server. And that is going to be the program.cs file. So here we have to create this. So let's make a copy of this. Then there's going to be an iPayment. And here it's going to be payment repository. Okay. Now when we are done, we go to the clients. And now within the clients, we have that already. So because when you check the client section, let's quickly check that as a client program.cs file. That is this. We added that in the iCarts and now we have the client service implemented. So that is fine. Let's run this again. All right, so it is navigating to the page and I can see I have logged in as administrator. That's why I have add product and add category. So I can just log out. This is not what you are looking for today. If you want to have a look at this, check the description and watch the video for this. But here, let's click on the cart. And with this, let's see. Okay, so we have this amount. Now if I click on proceed to checkout, let's see what's going to happen. So we're having an exception here. Let's check it out. And it is saying that the amount for an export transaction must be less than 10,000. Yeah, for testing purpose, it should be less than 10,000. Now, when we check our section, we have about 76,000, right? So this means it won't work for now. We can just click on continue, and we're going to reduce the amount. So here, let's reduce my less than 10,000. So this is 90. This is what? Still. So let's see. Let's remove this. So you can have amount like 10,000, less than 10,000. Okay, so the price of this are too high, isn't it? So let's what we're going to do. Let's go to database and try to make some changes to it. The price in here. And I'll do it again. So this is the table and this is the item price here. So we have these amounts and we're going to change them here. So let's say this is $150.88. You're gonna have okay, so here we have maybe 965.99, 1234.99, and maybe 458.36. So let's say this is an amount now. Let's try to read the page again to get the current prices for these items. Okay, so we have the current price, as you can see, 1236.99, and that amount here, it is 1,934. So we can add one more item. So let's this 150. Let's add this to the cart, and we have, let's say, product added to cart. Let's check now with this. We have 5 items in the cart. Okay. And then that's the cart that we have in here. So 5 items, and that is this. Okay. So this is the amount, 2,720. Now let's click on proceed to checkout. And now let's see. So you can see that it is navigating us to the checkout for a Stripe account. And now the mode here, it is in the test mode. All right. So you can see we have the pay. There's a public API that has been issued to us in the account. And like you see, we can pay with card. So email, we have our card information. You can select MasterCard or Visa card. Then you can specify the details here and then try to make payment. There's an item that we specify, and that is the total price in here. So this is the item price, various item price. If you want to show see all, and these are the quantity. So you can see we have this quantity in here. Okay, so as you can see, there's an ID instead, not the quantity. The ID here is 11, it's 9, and maybe 8, and etc. Okay. So that is, if you want to also add a quantity here, you can also add a quantity to this. Now let's see if it's going to be successful. So if I click on the cancel, it has to navigate to the page itself, because that's a cancel, and because it has navigated us to the page. Let's wait and see. So you can see that we are inside the page now. Let's go to the same checkout again. Now let's try to check these items out and try to add some cart, and let's see the response of this. Okay, so let's add something in here. I have my admin at Gmail, then 4242424242, and now 42. Okay, so we have this is the year. We have maybe 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 is okay. Now it's Netcode, and now here it is Ghana, and this Accra. Let's see Accra, and then Accra. So I'm going to click on pay, and now let's see. So processing, and now let's check it and see. Since it is in the test mode, it's not going to make actual payment because the card here is incorrect card. So you can see now success. Now let's see. You can see it is navigating to order dash success page. And now what are you going to see? Let's wait. Yes, so thank you so much for doing business with us. We love you so much. And now the purchase is now done. So that is a simple way to integrate this Stripe payment into your application. I will leave it at the description, so you can just go in there and grab it, and I have the source code as well. But take note, I'm not going to add the secret key because it is my property. And you can just go to the account and so create your own, and I'll integrate it in there. So I'm going to clear that. And I'll maintain the code over there, but it's going to be empty, so you can also put in yours. Thank you so much for watching this, and make sure you subscribe as well. And I'm going to catch you up in the next video.